super familiar with Geoduck, I hope you Google that and thank me for the rest of the day when you're sending that to your friends.
Welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. Here's your host, Scott Cowan.
So my guest today is Raina. And Raina, you are the owner and founder of Pupups, which I keep typing Pupups. I've got to be honest with you. I keep typing Pupups and I go, I can't find a website. But, and I'm trying to remember how we actually stumbled across. I think it was Mackenzie found you online and saying you were doing some really cool things, and we'll just stick with that. That's our story. We're sticking with that. That sounds plausible.
Sure.
So Pupups is, I'm going to let you tell the story because it's, as I'm looking at your website simultaneously, and so I feel distracted.
Sure.
I'm going to be quiet. You introduce yourself and tell us a little of your backstory, and then let's talk about what you're doing.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for having me. This is so rad. So Pupups is my very small company. And when I say very small, it is me and my two little Frenchies. And I make waterproof dog gear for the best dogs on the planet, which is every dog on the planet. Our gear is dirt proof and it's waterproof. It's really awesome for people that live in the Pacific Northwest, really any coastal state. But the other cool thing is that, it's dirt proof. So you don't have to buy a collar every 4 months when your dog goes outside and rolls around in deer or whatever.
My neighbor's dog rolled around in a skunk the other day. So yeah.
We need to send them a Pupups then, because I get so many people that say, oh, my dog rolled around in a skunk and he was licking the skunk. Who does that? But their Pupups collar doesn't stink. And I'm like, oh, that's just what I wanted to hear.
The dog does, but the collar's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think there's got to be a story. One does just not wake up in the middle of the day, night, whatever, and go, I'm going to make a dog collar that doesn't smell. What was the inspiration and motivation for this?
So it's kind of a very Pacific Northwest story. I live right by the beach here in Kingston, and I love to take my dogs out every day and just go see what the ocean has for us in store. Well, one day I took my pups out and it happened to be Geoduck season. And for people who aren't super familiar with Geoduck, I hope you Google that and thank me for the rest of the day when you're sending that to your friends. So Geoducks are these clams, right? And they're these really weird kind of space-looking clams. And on the surface, they will do this weird dive and dig to get underground, right? So that they can get the water that they need. Well, anyways, my dogs at the time, their name was Lou and Tal, and they discovered that if you step within 1 foot of where a Geoduck has burrowed, it will spit at you. And they made a game of it, and that game continued on for many hours because for me it was hysterical. And I don't know if you know, but it stinks really bad. And it also happened to be a pretty warm day, and all the salt water and seaweed and ocean and everything was just churning and rolling around. And these dogs are pouncing on the sand to get the Geoducks to spit on them. And they would just dig and dig and dig, which of course they shouldn't be doing. But they did get one. And they're just running around the beach with this gooey duck. And if you know what they look like, you would be laughing so hard.
No, I do, and I am chuckling.
So, anyways, a couple hours later, I get the dogs home and I rinse them off and I put them outside because it's sunny, and I just go air off outside. And okay, so I bring them in a couple hours later, and I'm sitting with my family in my living room, and I'm just like, oh my God, which one of you didn't shower today? Like, this is horrible. This smell is so bad. And I walk around, I'm sniffing around my house. I'm like, oh, did I not vacuum today? No. So I go over to where Lou was laying, of course, on my couch.
Oh, perfect.
And yeah, right. And it's her. She is the one that smells so bad that I can't even tell you what it was. It was just like maybe a mixture of it being a hot day with the salt water and the gooey duck and the dried seaweed. And she smelled so bad. And it's her collar. And I'm just like, oh my God, I've taken it off and threw it in the garbage. Didn't have the foresight to put it in the garbage outside. So then it smelled up my whole house. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is a problem, right? This is a very Pacific Northwest problem. And so the next day I was like, there's got to be a solution to this. I'm looking online, and, they've had waterproof collars before, but they were kind of, generic, I guess. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to put my art background and I'm going to put these wildly fun designs, and I'm going to make some dog collars, and they're going to be awesome. They're going to stand up to salt water, which hardly any collars do. They're going to be coated, and they are not going to smell. That's my goal. And so I just decided I'm going to do this. I already have a full-time job. Why not? Right? That's what everyone wants to do. So I just started designing, and I went through a lot of different manufacturers and stainless steel companies just to find just the right thing. And I finally landed on it. And that's how we got to pretty much the waterproof dog collar that is Pupups. Thank those gnarly little gooey ducks.
I'm laughing because you said, and I can tease you because you said it, but you didn't have the foresight to put it in the trash can outside.
Yeah.
And so it really didn't help to put it in the trash in the kitchen. I'm sorry. You just moved it from the dog.
Right.
And did you have to throw the couch out or no? Anyway.
It's funny enough, I did end up getting new couches about a month later. So that's, I never thought about it. That's probably why.
Go figure,
Costco can thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, not me. I had nothing to do with it. You're the one taking the dogs out. How do I want to say this? So this Pacific Northwest problem, as you've named it, is real. And our dogs are our friends, family, and all that, and they, for whatever reason, like to roll in things and do dog things. Yeah. And when we're currently without a dog in our lives, but we have 3 indoor cats. They're keeping us entertained at the moment. But previous dogs have, their collars were, kind of funky and messy and all that. Mm-hmm. But most of us don't go and have a stinky dog collar and then decide to open up a company, much less while working a full-time job. Yeah. And you said your art background. So let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
Tell us about you. How did you, are you a Washington native? Tell us a little about your backstory.
Yeah, so I'm here, been in Washington forever, and art has always been my thing. I knew from the time that I could pick up a crayon and I was drawing dogs that someday I would be doing something with art and dogs.
Okay.
And, fast forward to becoming an adult, I decided, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to be a paramedic. Well, then I decided I didn't want to do that. So I actually got into commercial fashion photography, and that's what I do for my day job. I specialize in kids fashion all over the world, and that's what I do for my day job, which is totally different than this, but it's also kind of rad because I can use that background and I can use my full photography commercial studio to have all these dogs in to be my own models, and I can get it, just right. And it's really fun because it is totally different than what I do during the day. But it overlaps in so many different ways. A lot of times we'll have models in, and I'm like, every time we book a model, I say, you got to bring your dog. I mean, if we're going to have a photo shoot, it should have a dog in it, right? And then I kind of got known for doing these fashion shoots with dogs. And anyway, so while the models are there, I'm like, this dog would look really good in a Pupup. So you got your hair and makeup done. Let's just shoot with it. And so, I mean, that's kind of a fun thing to interlace the two.
I don't think of the Olympic Peninsula being the hot spot for fashion photography. I think of New York, Milan, Paris.
Yeah. So
not the peninsula. So
yeah.
I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy. Are you?
Sure.
Are you?
So
how do you work? I mean, are you traveling to do the photo shoots, or do the companies?
So pre-pandemic, I would go to New York and all over all the time. And post-pandemic, no. So last year, I did no photo shoots at all.
Okay.
I think maybe we did 2 just at the very end of the year. And, when you're going from hundreds to it's kind of, it's crazy, but no. So I work with all these different companies and they will send me stuff and I will get, friends, kids to model, whatever. But last year we didn't do that at all. So it kind of took a hit, and that's where you saw a lot of companies just doing really basic stuff with their photos, and a lot of digital work and whatnot. But I actually work with a really great company here on the peninsula that's a Washington grown kids company, and they're massive and amazing. And so I work with them a ton. And then, so I work with other just smaller companies, kids companies who want the really whimsical and fun, just kind of unique photos. That's kind of, I guess, what I'm known for is just something a little outside the box, and always with a dog.
All right. Keeping with the theme of the dogs, which is what we're trying to keep. So how did you, you went from, crayons, drawing dogs to EMT to children's photography.
Yeah.
That seems like a completely linear, how did you get into, what got you into photography?
Oh gosh. I was given a camera as a gift and discovered that I was just pretty decent at it, and just every day would practice and practice and practice, and ended up doing a ton of photo shoots and doing them for friends for free. And then people, weirdly enough, wanted to pay me for these photo shoots. And I was like, hey, I can make a business out of it. So then I opened a studio on Bainbridge Island. And from there, kids companies were contacting me and saying, gosh, we'd love to have some of these really unique photos. And it just kind of went from there. I had made the decision that I no longer wanted to pursue the EMS path, that I just truly loved being creative. And that's what I wanted to do. And, life is just so short and so precious that we got to do what we love. And I just love it so much. I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly. I toyed with the idea of maybe doing like a little clothing company or something, and that wasn't anything I wanted to do. And gosh, if I'm going to have coworkers, they should have 4 legs, right? And they should be furry. And I guess that's why I work with dogs. And, I don't know. I don't think anything in my life is a straight line or linear. It's always a spiral. It's always evolving around here.
All right. So do you have a studio near your house now? Or
yeah, I do. Okay. So I kind of live out in the country-ish. Mm-hmm. And I have a big studio right on my own property, which right now is overlooking my sunflower field out in the front. So it's very beautiful.
Very cool.
Another really cool thing about it is that a lot of people don't ever come to the Olympic Peninsula. It's very obscure to a lot of people. And so when I'm doing photo shoots for people, they come here and it's like a mini vacation for them. They can come here to my studio and then they can just travel another 40 minutes and pretty much be in a rainforest. And that is so cool, right? I mean, if you're going to have a photo shoot and all the nervousness and prep that goes with it, you should go to the rainforest after, right?
Seems logical to me.
Yeah.
A really important question here.
Yeah.
What type of gear do you use? What are you shooting with these days?
Oh, sorry. Actually, I have it right here. I'm all Canon. I use Canon and Pro Photo for everything. I have never strayed to the side of Nikon. I love Canon. I really hope they love me for my entire lineup of lenses and cameras and everything. Look at you and your Nikon. I'll forgive you, but oh, that's too funny. Oh, look at you. Is that a mirrorless camera there?
Yeah, this is a Sony.
Yeah. Oh, Sonys are great.
I have a couple of Sonys, a Panasonic, a bunch of Nikon.
Okay.
Okay, so you shared earlier that somebody gave you a camera and you went out and practiced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Oh, okay.
I don't do that. So I think the camera that gets the most use is my iPhone. I mean, truthfully, that's it's what I take everywhere with me. But anyway, enough about me and that. So you're using Canon gear, which seems to be the kind of, I get a kick out of the Canon Nikon, wars.
Sure.
They both make excellent equipment.
They do.
But so you're using Canon gear.
Yeah.
You're shooting kids, not for photography. Photography people.
Yep.
Your dog's playing whack-a-mole with gooey ducks.
Yeah.
And you created waterproof stinkless collars, and your website looks like somebody's. Have you taken all the photographs on your website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because your website looks attention to detail, and it's not just somebody slapped up buy a leash and a collar here.
Thank you.
But what I want to know, your logo.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with this? Reminiscent to me of the Jetsons cartoons. And you're too young to know the Jetsons.
No, it's funny. I actually watched the Jetsons pretty much every weekend as a kid. I love anything vintage. If I could walk around my house and give you a tour, you would think that you're in mid-century.
Okay, so because it's got that atomic era feel to it, and I'll put with your permission, we'll put a picture of the logo below the show notes for this thing so people can see it or visit your website. Sure. But did you draw that? Is that your work, or did you commission it?
Yeah. So funny enough, I had taken some business advice from a friend who said that you should never draw your own logo. You got to take the emotion out of it. So I did. And I spent a few $1,000s on it. And I was like, I don't like that. So one day I'm just sitting in my living room and drinking coffee, of course, like I am now. And my dog Lou, who always said she had her head deep in space, just did the funniest thing out of the blue. And she had one of my props, and it was one of those plastic space helmets. And she
Right.
somehow got her head into it. And she was just like walking in just randomly with it, just like no big deal. Just this massive dog, yellow dog with space helmet on. And I said, oh my God, I got to take a picture. I mean, I should have helped her out of it first, but I got to take a picture.
Well,
so I did. And then I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is my logo. And so I slapped it into Photoshop. I literally traced her, and that became our logo.
so people, just so we clarify this, because no dogs were harmed in the creation of the logo.
No, and it has a huge like hole cut out of it so that you can breathe, and her little snout was sticking out, and it was just the most ridiculous yet such a Lou thing to do. She was a wild one, that one. So yeah, so it kind of has that mid-century Jetsons vibe. And that's, that's kind of what I want for the company, is for people to feel something warm and nostalgic, maybe when they go to my website, and just so they feel, just something loved, maybe. I don't know, something warm.
So after you prototyped everything, you went through all the manufacturing. Nothing could go wrong in manufacturing. Nothing at all.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What was the first design that you began selling?
Yeah, so the 4 designs that we have now are the originals. The very first one I drew was the lawn gnomes. I think there's something so whimsical and fun about them. And I drew it out on some watercolor paper, and I hand watercolored it and stuck it into Procreate and on my iPad and just digitized it, got that one going. And I loved it so much. And the second one was the Washington State mountains. So it has all the mountains on there. Props to anyone who can name all the mountains on there. And then
Rainier.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I win.
It's funny. It's actually the same mountain range that's on your water bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in all fairness and full disclosure, without holding the bottle in front of me, I can't remember all of them myself.
Yeah, I know.
There's always one. See, there's one that I think should be on there, but it's not because of the event. It shrunk. So to me, I personally think St. Helens is taller than the other. So I always get a little mixed up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And then you did plaid.
Yeah, I did the buffalo plaid, which, is really just reminiscent of every sort of lumberjack Washington in the fall, wearing your plaid, drinking your coffee.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have 4 designs right now. What you had mentioned earlier is a change in production.
Yes. So I decided during the pandemic that I was going to go against everybody's advice. And everybody, when I started this company, said, you have to manufacture overseas or you are never going to make it. So that's what I did. And I had a huge issue with it. My very first production run of 3,000 collars came wrong. Actually, they didn't come with stainless steel rivets. They came with regular rivets, and that's okay, but that wasn't okay enough for me. So I took a huge hit, like tons and tons and tons of money to get these replaced. And I chalked it up to, I'm a new business owner. I don't know what I'm doing. But I kept going, and I saved money, and I got another run going, which we launched again last fall. And so far they've been beautiful. Haven't had a single return. They're awesome. They're so durable, but during the pandemic, it really made me realize how I want to have these made in Washington. I want to see production from start to finish. And it's important to me that every single one is like perfect, I guess. So a couple months ago, I started going down the line of how am I going to do this? I have a full-time job. Like, I don't know. So, I started looking for local companies who could help me. And I actually have found a really amazing company in Tacoma that's going to do some lasering for me. So they're going to cut out the initial shape.
Okay.
And I've found another company who's actually down in Oregon on the border, but we still love them. And they're going to do some printing.
That's South Washington.
Yeah, South Washington, you're right. They're hopefully going to be able to do the printing for me. We're still working on that. It's going to be amazing, though. And then I am going to rivet them all myself. My studio currently is
full-time job riveting.
Riveting. Yeah, my studio, I'm going to retrofit. There's an apartment above the studio. And so hopefully we can make that work for Pupups manufacturing. And then all my friends listening who don't know this yet, but you're going to come help. Maybe you want to come help. And we're just going to get a bunch of them going. And it's going to be neat because people are going to be able to customize them. They're going to be able to put on different hardware if they want. They'll be able to change the length if they want. Maybe they don't want the traffic handle on the leash. They don't have to have it. It's going to be custom. It's going to be like a Pupups laboratory, and it's going to be amazing. So bringing the production to the U.S. is really important to me. And, you know, for everyone that said that I wouldn't be able to do it, I'm going to do it. And it doesn't matter. I'm just going to do it. And I think there are so many skilled artisans here, and they are, you know, so valuable. And why not do it locally? You know, it's never been about money for me with Pupups. It's always been about love and being around community and just finding a solution to this problem. And we're just going to go from there. And, you know, if we make money, that's great. But that's the hope. And someday I'll be able to live my dream of just being able to help more dogs and dogs in shelters. And it's actually kind of an interesting, fun story. My dog, Lou, had jumped out of a truck when she was puppy. We were driving by her doggy daycare and the window was down, and she thought we missed the stop and we didn't let her out. And she jumped out of the truck and she broke her femur in the process. And we took her to, of course, to the emergency dog hospital over in Seattle. And I'm just sitting there and I'm looking at all these people come in with their dogs, and there's nothing they can do, right? Because it's so expensive. And so at that moment, I said, someday I'm going to sit in this waiting room and I'm just going to anonymously pay for people's vet bills so that their dogs can go home with them. And that's always in the back of my mind of what I'm working to. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to anonymously just spread the love around our community. And I want people to be happy. And that's, you know, that's kind of where Pupups originated. And that's where we're just going to keep blasting off to.
Okay. That's fabulous. I mean, that is super commendable. And
thanks.
You're already doing some really great things with it, which we'll get to in a second.
Sure.
But you mentioned something, and I want you to expand on it.
Yeah.
You said you've had no returns.
Yeah. No.
These have pretty much 100% guarantee, right?
Yeah, definitely. So when my first run came, I did not know that the stainless steel rivets were switched out. They were supposed to be stainless steel and they weren't. And we had a bunch of sales and I sent them out and not knowing. And to, I guess, make up for that and no one ever returned them. But when we got our new stuff, I sent every single person a brand new collar and a leash. And I had told them, of course, ahead of time, like, I will make this right however you want. Does not matter. And, so I got a lot of emails from, I didn't order this, and I just sent them. I didn't tell people. That's the right thing to do. And that's just what I did. So yeah, but with our new production line, we haven't had a single return. I'm constantly checking in with people like, how's your Pupups doing? The Instagram is so fun because I get to see dogs climbing mountains all over the world in Pupups. And I'm getting these amazing pictures and they send them to me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't climb a mountain. How are you doing? And this is so great. And then I say, okay, but how is your Pupups holding up? And all of them are, it is awesome. It's holding up. The stainless steel, it's so strong. And they are the fashionable dogs climbing those mountains.
So what's the most unusual photograph that you can remember of a dog wearing a Pupup that you've seen?
So, gosh, I've had so many. I just got some from Istanbul, some pictures.
Wow. Okay.
I've had someone in Nepal send me pictures, which is insane. Wow. Yeah. Somehow I got into this small community of hikers, I guess, and word spread in their little Facebook group. And suddenly I was sending collars all over the world. And I'm like, how in the world did they find me in such a bizarre place, And it's just been so cool because I really try and stay in touch with, the people that want to be. And yeah, I love seeing the pictures. I love seeing the pictures from Hawaii with dogs surfing. It's so great. I love seeing pictures of dogs just all over the US wearing these. It's awesome. But I guess what I love most is the dogs that have found homes. And when they have their adoption day, I see them in their Pupups and I just cry every time. It's so sweet.
Well, let's talk about that.
Sure.
As I grabbed the wrong mouse. I have to look at some things here.
That's okay.
Let's talk about what it is you do. Well, yeah. What is it that you do when somebody buys a Pupups?
Okay. So, for every collar that's purchased or every leash that's purchased, I donate to a rescue or a shelter. And, when I say I donate one, I usually donate 5, 10, because I want to fill a huge box. And one of those giant flat rate boxes can hold anywhere from 78 to 92 collars, depending on what sizes. And I fill it up every time. So say in a month, if I've only had 25 sales, I'm still gonna fill that up, and I'm gonna send those out. And I just love it. I think it's so great. I've found some really cool rescues around the US and globally as well. And so I'm sending those to them. And I think it's really important because in the shelter rescue setting, dogs can get, kind of stinky and dirty. And I want them to have their best paw forward when people come to adopt them. And I've had a few people say, this is just so cool. I saw gnomes on this dog and I had to take a second look and ended up adopting this dog. Of course, not because of the collar. The dogs, of course, were awesome, but I want them to stand out and I don't want them to stink. And I just want to do everything I can for these dogs. And so eventually, once Pupups gets bigger, I want to take, a good portion of that money and just put that back into community and the people that are helping these dogs and rehabilitation. And there's so many amazing groups that support these animals, and I want to support them financially as well. Of course, I want them to have Pupups collars. So we donate, and I just send these giant boxes along that I have like duct taped all the way around them because they're so heavy with all the stainless steel. And I've had a volunteer say like, "Oh, it's pretty much, like."
What is in this thing?
To get in this. Yeah. It's all locked up. Yeah. Like, here's the code to get in.
Well, I think that's an awesome way of supporting
Thank you.
animals in needs and all that. I'm on your website right now, and I'm on the part that says follow us on Instagram, and I'm seeing a couple of pictures of dogs in sunflowers. Mm-hmm. Are those sunflowers local?
Yeah, those are right outside my studio.
Okay.
This year I grew a few thousand of them. The field right now, I'm having a look at it. It's on its way out, but it's so beautiful. And I love to cut the flowers and just take them to my friends and anonymously leave them on their doorstep and taking them to the senior center. And they're just so happy and beautiful. And it reminds people that somebody is thinking of them. And, I don't want any credit for that. I just want someone to open their door and smile. And that's one of the main reasons I started growing these sunflowers. And also it makes really beautiful photos of dogs. Mm-hmm. So I have gotten my entire community here in Hansville to volunteer their dogs. And I've got a few hundred models around here. And they're just amazing. I don't know if you've ever been to Hansville, but it's a senior community. Okay. And these folks have just been amazing. They will literally drop anything when I call them or text and say, would you want to do a photo shoot? And do you want to do it in a sunflower field? Or, do you want to go just take a ferry ride for a couple hours so I can take photos of your dog? And I've never had someone say no to me.
Wow. Okay.
So it's kind of fun. Not a lot of people think of getting professional photos of their dogs done, which is super important, so that you have that forever. And with that, I love getting pictures of humans with their dogs so that they have something to show. And funny enough, a few people have told me that they have then used those on their Match.com profiles and gotten dates. So I think that's a huge bonus. So if you have a dog and you need photos, anybody listening, send me a message. But yeah,
we'll put the contact information in the show notes below, folks.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
I would love to get some more photos all around Washington of some dogs. And once this corona settles down a little, I'd like to go to Eastern Washington and go to some of those really cool spots over there too. So Eastern Washington is not exempt.
No, there's cool stuff all around the state, everywhere.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. An hour and you're in a rainforest, an hour and you're at the ocean and you're seeing these orcas. It's such an amazing place to be all the time, and
right.
I guess if you have some gooey ducks and a dog and it's a sunny day in Washington, you are living a really rad life.
Or you have the impetus for a new business. I don't know.
Right. Something like that. Yeah.
Well, I think what you're doing is fantastic. And that's one of the things that we like to uncover. And that sounds like we're
Sure.
detectives and all that, but it's always fun to talk to small business owners who are enthusiastic about what they're doing.
Yeah.
But you also, so let's transition into another part of our show, which is the, what do you do when you're not doing the thing that you do?
Mm-hmm.
So you and I have a shared interest in a topic, and it's probably in your left hand right now.
Oh, yes.
So this is obviously not a visual medium, folks, but she's holding a coffee cup.
Yeah.
And so every episode has some conversation about coffee in it.
Yes.
Around you, any good coffee shops that I need to know about?
Oh gosh, there's just so many. There's actually one here in Kingston, which is amazing, and they help homeless teens. It's called Coffee Oasis.
All right.
They are amazing. I believe they also employ some of those teens there, but it's a really cool place. It's a place to give homeless kids like a leg up in life. Helps give them some resources. I want to say there's like 3 or 4 locations now. So and it's huge and it's awesome, and the people there are just really cool. I guess if you go a little bit outside Kingston, if you go to Pullsbow, you want to go to Chalkmo. You want to have every coffee that they make, but you also want to have one of their bottomless root beer floats, and then coffee.
Wait! Stop! You just slid that through too. Did you just say bottomless root beer floats?
Yeah. So those giant steins that you put beer in. They're like this. Okay, well, they go even further. They have these pitchers, and they put like 15 scoops of ice cream, and then they put the root beer in, and it's bottomless. So if you're like me, who pre-pandemic would go to these coffee shops and just sit and work, edit these photos, you could probably consume 10,000 calories just in a day of work, just getting your bottomless root beer float. And it's awesome. The owner, I guess he started as a small chocolatier and now has these massive, like, chocolate cafes. It's so cool. I love to just sit and work anywhere. I love being around people, and I love just having a vibrant environment around me. And gosh, I miss coffee shops so much. I'm really hoping we can get back to that.
Well, give me a couple more coffee shops. I'm with you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, coffee. Yeah. Anyway, go on. Enough about me. We don't need me.
So Bainbridge has a ton of coffee shops. Just anywhere downtown, there's probably 4 or 5. Just really amazing little shops. I like to get a coffee and then just go sit by the ferry docks and watch the ferries. And sometimes you get pretty lucky and you see the orcas go by or whatever. And I don't know, it's so inspiring. We just live in such an inspiring place. And I would say I have 3 cups of coffee a day. So I'm a very inspired person.
Did you say 3?
Yeah. Are you on 3 already?
Yeah, I'm past 3. So the coffee story here really quickly is that my dad was a salesman. He worked for Nabisco. And back in the 60s and 70s when I was growing up, I would tag along with him, as a kid. And I just, I didn't know what he did because it was like he just went in and talked to other guys. I mean, they'd go and talk to a store manager like, oh, hey, do you want to buy some Oreos? And like, yeah, we'll buy some Oreos from you, Bill, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, let's have coffee. Okay. So I think my earliest memory of coffee was the summer before I went into 4th grade. My parents took me and we went back to the East Coast. And I had iced coffee in Baltimore while we were eating crabs.
Oh.
So I was probably 10 years old. Right? and I found this magical iced coffee.
Yeah.
And so I've been drinking coffee since I was 10.
Oh my gosh.
And I would have coffee in the morning with my dad at breakfast before I went off to school, things like that. And then as I grew up, and I'm not saying good coffee, by the way, though. We're talking freeze-dried taster's choice, boil some water in the kettle and dump it in, And then as I grew up, and moved out, and go see my parents, and my dad and I'd have coffee. We'd go out and have coffee. It just kind of was the thing that connected me really to my dad. So that's my coffee thing. And just coffee became this beverage that you consume.
Yeah.
I mean, I can drink a cup of coffee and go to bed.
Yeah, me too.
I'll have coffee. I'll have coffee at night. I don't, it's like, I want coffee. I'll just drink coffee. It's just what I do. And so I ask everybody about all these coffee shops because I can't say I'll get to all of them, but the serious intention is that I'm going to go check these places out and have a cup of coffee. It's kind of fun, and coffee shop owners are interesting people.
They are,
for the most part, and so I always love the local recommendations.
Yeah,
because when I travel, the goal that I have is, so whenever I travel, I try to eat somewhere that I can't eat when I'm at home. Okay, so that's the goal. Now, the one safe place that I have is Starbucks because they have clean bathrooms.
Yes,
it's just nice to know that they're just so consistent. So I'll go get a cup of coffee at Starbucks, whether I'm in Wenatchee or Bremerton. It doesn't matter. But I love to hear these, bottomless root beer floats. Kind of like seems like a reason to go to Paulsbo. Forget the whole touristy thing of Paulsbo. It's the bottomless root beer that we're going to go after.
Yes.
But besides coffee, you got any recommendations of places to eat that are maybe dog friendly?
Oh gosh.
We'll spin it that way. Any dog friendly places?
So right by the ferry here in Kingston, there's a pub, and the name is escaping me at the moment, but they're super dog friendly. Okay. Let's see. To be honest, I haven't gone out to eat in 18 months.
Yeah, I know. It's really weird to be having this conversation.
But gosh, I don't know. I know a lot of places in Paulsbo are super dog friendly. Okay. Yeah, I know the pub is, oh gosh, what is the name? Oh, it's going to come to me at 2 a.m. Oh,
of course. And if you send it to me, we'll put a link to them. So
perfect.
We'll get you off the hook here.
Perfect. The local peanut shop here in Kingston is pretty dog friendly. They have like a little table outside. Okay. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're called CB's Nuts. They have the best peanuts in the world. I was actually just eating some. Okay. But they're a local company, and they have a really cool sign outside that says "We're nuts," and I like that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What's next for Pupups? What do you have? I mean, you have this great vision of sitting in a veterinarian's office and you're taking buying the coffee for the person behind you in the drive-thru to a whole new level here. Yeah. With the generosity. But what are you going to do to get to that goal? What's next? So next, I have 6 new designs coming out in the next couple months, and they are awesome. There's a waves one. It's super bright. There's a Washington sort of flowers one. There's 2 new plaids. There's new mountain. No. I did the trees this time. So Washington trees. It's and a camo, because a lot of people hunt here. So I've had a lot of people ask for a camo. So we're doing a black camo, and they're going to be awesome. I actually just got the proofs back from the printer 2 days ago, and they're super vibrant and they're super fun. And to be honest, they're unlike anything I've seen on the market. And I hand drew them all, of course. And I am very excited for this new launch. We've had the original 4 designs since the conception of the company. So having enough support and enough sales to move forward with it
is amazing to me.
Okay.
Just this tiny little company. And now I'm more than doubling our line, and I'm very excited about that. So hopefully all goes well with that. I'm hoping for late October, early November launch of those just in time for the holiday season.
Okay.
And yeah, it's going to be great. So I'm hoping those go really well. And depending on how much I guess we need to make is how
Well,
maybe I can employ some people and
okay.
spread the love that way, and that would be a dream of mine, to just support the local community with really fair wages and great place to work. And you'd have to bring your dog to work, of course, if you have one. So
Is that a condition of employment? Must have dog.
I guess I would accept cat people too, or bird people, or
Well, have you
really
thought
cat
about
people.
in all seriousness? Have you thought about doing like a cat-sized collar?
So yes, I actually get a lot of requests for that. They have to have the breakaway collars, which I currently don't have.
Okay.
However, I am looking at some different options for really tiny dogs.
Okay.
Funny enough, a lot of my customers are in Manhattan and they have really tiny dogs.
Little
And
purse dogs.
yeah, so they need the smaller ones, which I guess would fit cats too. So I'm working on a different class
Okay.
for those, and being able to have the control of making them here, I'll be able to
Hmm.
do that. So I guess in the Pupups laboratory, we theoretically could do cat stuff soon. So
Hmm. Okay.
that's
Oh,
thanks for that idea. That's awesome.
there you go. Why don't we wrap this up with you? Well, let me pause that,
Sure.
scratch. What haven't I asked you that I should have asked you?
Oh, gosh. I mean, you didn't ask me about the weather today, and most people ask me about that.
It's sunny. It's sunny here today. How are you doing over there?
It's crazy. It's actually not sunny at all. This morning, I was going to go to the beach. One of my neighbors said that the orcas were transiting through the canal this morning. So I was thinking about going, which, I didn't want to be late for this amazing podcast. So I ended up not going. But no, it's actually kind of
I'm sorry.
rainy over here.
Sorry you
um,
missed the transiting orcas.
it's okay. I see them quite frequently.
I've never seen them in
What?
real life. Yeah, I don't
What?
think I've ever. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's just say never. Because I can't tell you a specific time I saw them, and I would think that
What?
it would be memorable enough that I would have.
Oh, yeah, you have to. I told you I live in this retirement community. So there's a lot of folks that just sit around the beach and watch for them. And so, no, really, like as soon as they see a little spout, they get on the text and they tell everybody, and then we all kind of rush over there. But yeah, I actually would take my dog Tal kayaking a few years ago, and we would see them just first you like totally panic the first time you see them when you're in your kayak, and you just totally panic, but they're so gentle and so sweet, and I think you really
Okay.
have to come see them. So I will start texting you when the old people text me. And I will let you know. So no, I'm just
My
kidding.
commute time might be a little. They probably are in Alaska by the time I
Yeah.
get there. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, I can't think of anything else you didn't ask. This was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Oh,
This was great.
thank you. So, why don't you tell people where they can find out more about Pupups and about you, and we'll go
Yeah.
that way.
So my website is Pupups USA, Pupups USA.com. And there's a new blog on there. So I'm actually going to put up a fun blog maybe today or tomorrow, just all about entrepreneurship and the craziness that has ensued the last couple of years. So
Hmm.
I'm going to start writing more, I guess, personalized blogs for small businesses, because not that many people in small business will tell you the wild and nitty gritty side of it. And I'm going to start doing that.
It's easy to be a small business owner. Nothing ever goes wrong. Everything, you make tons of money. You don't have to work.
Yeah.
It's, you're drinking coffee and eating peanuts.
Yeah.
And it's just, come on.
I know.
Don't let them know.
I know. It's so funny. I thought, maybe I'll just work a few hours a day. And now I work every hour of every day. So
of every day.
But I love it so much.
But when it's something you enjoy doing, it's not like having that job where, let's just say, it's the 9-to-5 grind and you can't wait for Friday afternoon.
Yeah. I honestly think I have the best job in the world. Today I'm going to go do our Halloween photo shoot, and I've got a witch model, and I've got some dogs lined up, and we're going to get some fun shots there. And
nice.
That's a cool thing to do during your day, right?
Right. No, exactly. Oh, yeah. That's just it. So pupupsusa.com, and you're on social channels. What social channels are you on?
So Instagram and Pinterest, same Pupups USA.
All right. Well, thank you so much for making the time to do this.
Thank you.
I had fun. I think somewhere along the line we made Todd laugh. That was the goal.
I hope so, Todd.
Hope so. Yeah, hopefully. Anyway, thank you so much, and best of success to you. Hopefully, I think what you're doing is awesome, and I'm looking forward to checking in and hearing more.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Join us next time for another episode of the Exploring Washington State podcast.